Cobra Kai.
Kidding.
I'm very curious because I have an opinion on it. I've spoken about this a lot,
Sure.
and this question has been brought up to the writers. We have Disney Plus, which goes with the weekly format,
Right.
and you have a 1-season show that expands into 3 months. People watch it for 3 months, but then a show like Cobra Kai, 10 episodes, people finish in a day. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
What do you prefer? What would you prefer with Cobra Kai in particular?
I think Cobra Kai, I really like the water cooler talk. And that's the weekly episodes because you have all that talk throughout the week. And then you have that desire to see whatever happened previously, to see that next episode. So it almost becomes a fever pitch, as you get closer to that Friday or Wednesday or whenever it's dropping. And I think it benefits studios and brands to have people talking about it longer than they do binging all at once. And we talk and talk and talk, but it's like Cobra Kai season 4 is going to drop, and there's going to be a couple weeks of us going crazy for it, talking about it every single moment. And then it'll probably trail off as Book of Boba Fett or some other, the Lord of the Rings series on Amazon or Ted Lasso season 3 or what have you. There's something to be said. I do prefer that water cooler talk because you get an episode like, I don't know, let's say Mandalorian and the tragedy. I believe it was chapter 12, and we have the return of Boba Fett. I grew up with Boba Fett. That was one of my favorite episodes. We talked endlessly about that for almost weeks, and now Boba Fett's getting his own series. So I just personally prefer that. But there is something to be said, and especially with Cobra Kai, you get all of them right there. You finish that first episode. I'm pretty much not going to put down the rest of the episodes and go a week later and watch one, and then a week later and watch one. I'm going to binge them as well. So it's hard to say no when something is so high quality. I would say Stranger Things is up there for me with Netflix, Cobra Kai, that you want to see these next episodes. So it's definitely a model that does work. It does work. I prefer probably just the weekly to just prolong that conversation, to nerd out even more, to have more fun, and to have more conversations with people is I think the model I prefer.
Yeah. I have a good comparison between Mandalorian and Cobra Kai.
Ooh, let's hear it.
So with Mandalorian, let me ask you this. Who the hell is going to be talking about Ahsoka and Boba Fett if the whole season was released and you saw Luke freaking Skywalker then? Nobody's talking about Boba Fett and Ahsoka. Everyone's
right.
It's all Luke, and then Ahsoka and Boba Fett. It's like,
Yeah.
they were in it too.
Yeah, it would be a lot to take, and that's it's a great point because we had Boba Fett and we had that week of Boba Fett, then we had Ahsoka, and then we have Luke Skywalker, and there's something it's stretching out that story that it's surprising, it's fun, but yeah, it would be a different Mandalorian would have, I think, landed differently in a lot of ways if it was all binged, because then there would be certain people that were probably spoiled, they'd be go, oh my God, episode 4, Ahsoka's back, and then, oh my God, episode so-and-so, Boba Fett's back. That's why I think I like it. I think that's the point, is that, you don't want to, I don't know, reveal all your secrets at once.
Yeah. And it's just, you can really like resonate and like, enjoy scenes more. For example, like the whole Okinawa plot, just kind of after season 3 comes out, people are talking about the end of season 3. Nobody's, you're not getting as much attention. Imagine if Cobra Kai was a weekly show and then everyone's going to be talking about episode 5, Chosen returns, fights Daniel. Everybody's going to be talking about there's going to be all that hype. And then another thing, especially like Mr. Miyagi's letters when they were being read by Komiko in the 4th episode, like after people watch it, and imagine everybody like being able to talk about that would be like, you would have a lot of conversations on just that scene, but it all gets blended together.
Right.
And the arcs are just like that, because it's all, and the writers, they might have said this in the interview you were that you heard. I've heard them say this all the time. Um, you know, I guess they do this with most shows, but they said like they really wanted to they view each season as its own film. It's like a
Right.
5-hour film.
Yeah.
For each season, just like Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, each season 1 was like its own movie, ended with the tournament. Season 2 was its own Cobra Kai versus Miyagi-Do. Season
Right.
3, the aftermath of that. So that's how they view it. But John Hurwitz, one of the creators, said they would be open to the idea of weekly episodes, but that's something Netflix like they haven't spoken about, and I hope they do.
Yeah.
I want them to do it.
Yeah, that was the business model of Netflix, really. I mean, Netflix was one of the, really Netflix kind of created the streaming platform. The long form, Stranger Things kind of hit the zeitgeist for us nerds when it came out, and it was bingeable. It was bingeable. And now look at where we are. And so Disney Plus came out and said, well, we're doing weekly. That's their thing. And I believe Apple does that as well. So I do like that model. And I'm wondering if Netflix does want to consider that model and reversing it and going back to the weekly episodes. And I wonder if Hurwitz and his team over there with Cobra Kai has made the request. If we had, to your point, if we had a weekly rollout, we would have been hanging out in Okinawa for a while because everybody would have been talking about that because it was such a great, going back and remembering Karate Kid 2 and then expanding on it. And then, obviously Terry Silver's coming up. So, these reveals that are happening, I think would garner more conversation around Netflix if it was weekly. But I wonder if that model will change ultimately, because it gets back to the must-see TV. We haven't, this is a whole new world. We can watch streaming whenever we want. It doesn't have to be Thursday at 8:00 at night, like Friends or Seinfeld, or back in the day when I was growing up. These must-see TVs, you had to be there at that time on that day to see your latest episode. Lost did that for me. Breaking Bad did that for me. Battlestar Galactica did that for me. And so here we go with streaming. Now it's just like Netflix, rightly so. I think it's a fascinating business model to go. You're getting it all in one day. It's just drops the whole season. You can watch it whenever you want. And that created the binge culture. And so that is a culture that I still love, because one episode ends and it's maybe a cliffhanger to the next episode. And you're like, oh my God. And you have to watch it. I mean, how many times can you say, like, I did this with Stranger Things? It's like, I was going to go to bed at 11, but here it is 3 a.m. and I just finished the season. So that happens a lot with binge culture. And I wonder what Netflix is talking about behind the scenes.